Hello, students of Seneca. Welcome to another revision session for GCSE Chemistry. I'm Jono, and I'm going to be talking you through the wildly exciting world of fuel cells today. It's a bit of a complicated topic. It builds on a lot of the previous content covered, so make sure you check out the other episodes. But let's dive into it. So, fuel cells, what are they? Basically, they are used to produce energy through a reaction between an external fuel source, often hydrogen, and oxygen. The fuel is added to the cell, and there is a constant supply of oxygen. The fuel is oxidized, and this creates a voltage. And they have some really important advantages. So they produce a lot less pollution than traditional methods, which is great. They're compact and lightweight. They're really efficient, and they're very reliable due to the absence of moving parts. So fuel cells are great. They sound like an ideal boyfriend or girlfriend. Reliable, efficient, everything you could want. And to recap, they produce electrical energy using a reaction between an external fuel source and oxygen. And do remember the advantages of them? Reliable, less pollution, high efficiency, compact and lightweight. Awesome. So now we get into the chemistry. Like any cell, there's going to be a positive and negative electrode. Do you remember the specific names for positive and negative electrodes? Positive electrode is an anode and a negative electrode is a cathode. So what happens at the anode? Basically, the anode is where the hydrogen reacts, and hydrogen loses electrons and oxidation is loss. So it's an oxidation reaction. So hydrogen is oxidized to form hydrogen ions. You need to know the half equation for this reaction, and that is 2H2 goes to 4H plus 4 electrons. Okay? So do you remember the other reactant in a fuel cell? It's oxygen. So oxygen reacts at the cathode. Now, if we're having oxidation at the anode, what do you think is happening at the cathode? It's going to be reduction. So oxygen reacts with 4H plus ions and 4 electrons to give 2 molecules of H2O. And that was the half equation. If you didn't catch it, it's O2 plus 4H plus 4 electrons goes to 2H2O. So that's the cathode half equation. And so we produce water and oxygen is reduced. So if we put that together, the overall equation is 2H2 plus O2 goes to 2H2O. Okay, so that's what happens in a fuel cell. And make sure you learn those half equations. They're really important. They're often on exams, and they're really easy marks because you just need to learn them. So there's a lot of debate between using hydrogen fuel cells and batteries. And often, hydrogen fuel cells are seen as a good alternative to rechargeable batteries. That's because batteries can be made from toxic metal compounds, and disposing of batteries can cause pollution. Also, if we remember, the only thing that a hydrogen fuel cell uses is oxygen and hydrogen, and the only waste product is water, so less pollution. Hydrogen fuel cells also have a longer lifetime, because even if a battery is rechargeable, it needs to be replaced after a certain number of recharges. So like, think about the battery in your phone, right? Eventually the batteries on phones become really bad and you have to get a new phone because the battery lasts 2 hours. So it can be good to have a hydrogen fuel cell because we don't need to replace it. Also, they have a much bigger capacity. Fuel cells produce more energy per gram of hydrogen relative to petrol. So batteries have a smaller capacity. However, one of the only downsides really is hydrogen has to be stored at high pressure, and hydrogen gas is explosive, so it can be a bit dangerous. So make sure you know the advantages of hydrogen fuel cells over batteries. I would learn at least 3: less toxic, longer lifetime, and greater capacity. And make sure you can label a fuel cell as well, particularly the water, anode and cathode. Those are really important parts and often will be a diagram in an exam question. So just to recap, a fuel cell produces electrical energy efficiently by using energy produced by a particular reaction. And what is that reaction? It's a reaction between an external fuel source, normally hydrogen, and oxygen. The fuel gets oxidized, and that's what creates the voltage, the oxidation of the fuel. So, last thing, do we remember the advantages and disadvantages of fuel cells related to batteries? So batteries are more toxic, they have to be replaced after a number of charges, and they require more frequent recharging. So those are all the key points for fuel cells. I hope that was a useful episode. Make sure you check out the other ones in the series, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks very much for listening.